Shalom, welcome to the Jewish Task Force JTF. My name is Chaim Ben Pesach. Before we get to our subject of this video, which is how Barack Hussein Obama's pastor, Jeremiah Wright, has said that the very name Israel is a dirty name and the very word Israel is a dirty word. And Obama agrees with him. Obama and his pastor favor the destruction of Israel and are Jew haters. But before we get to that, QPTV people can see the evening times we're on the air, and QPTV people who want to watch us during the day can see the daytime schedule, the times we're on during the day on QPTV. And, of course, this is our great forum that we urge everybody to join. And if you want to remember how to get to our website, and you can find our forum, of course, on our main page, you just go to JewsAgainstObama.com. That's all you have to remember. Jeremiah Wright, who has been Barack Hussein Obama's so-called pastor for 20 years now, his spiritual leader for 20 years. He married Barack Hussein Obama with his wife. He baptized Barack Hussein Obama's children. Barack Hussein Obama named his book, The Audacity of Hope, after a sermon that Jeremiah Wright gave in the so-called church. Barack Hussein Obama makes that church his #1 charity contribution. He gave them $27,000, a donation of $27,000 last year, which was by far, he happens to be pretty stingy, by the way, Barack Hussein Obama, but that was his biggest donation to any charity, to that so-called church. So there's no question that Barack Hussein Obama has a very close relationship with Jeremiah Wright and supports him to this day and says, I will not disown him and I will not repudiate him and I'm going to remain a member of his church. And this individual, this evil Jew-hating, scum of the earth so-called pastor, Jeremiah Wright, who is supported, by the way, by all the black ministers and pastors are saying they support him and they want to invite him to speak, and they're giving him awards in Texas and in other places, which tells you something about the unbelievable degree of vicious black anti-Semitism that exists in our society. This pastor, Jeremiah Wright, said, among other things, and this hasn't been shown on television, they showed him saying, God damn America, and they showed him making various other statements about how AIDS was invented by whites in order to be injected into blacks, which is the same thing that Jeremiah Wright's friend Louis Farrakhan has said. He says the same thing he says the same exact things Louis Farrakhan says against white people and against Jews, by the way. And one of the things that he did say that hasn't been on television, you've seen Goddamn America, you've seen him blaming whites for creating AIDS to supposedly destroy the black community. You've seen maybe all of those tapes. But you haven't seen the one where he says that Israel is a dirty word. The very word Israel is a dirty word. In other words, he's calling for the destruction of the tiny, heroic, little state of Israel, this tiny, little Jewish nation that is the only country in the world for the Jewish people, the only homeland that the Jewish people have. The Muslims have 66 nations. There are 66 Muslim countries, many of which are gigantic countries. They have the majority of the world's oil reserves. They've got 1.5 billion people. The Jews have one tiny little country. And the Muslims and their friends like Barack Hussein Obama and Jeremiah Wright want to destroy the one tiny little homeland that the Jewish people have. He says the very name Israel is a dirty word. What a Jew-hating piece of filth. Can you imagine if someone came up and said the very name Africa is a dirty word and that Africa is a dirty name and that Africa should be destroyed? Can you imagine if someone was speaking like this? Would they be taken? Would the candidate that is closely associated with them and that's a member of their church, would that candidate be taken seriously as a candidate for president if someone were running around saying that about Africa? But you can say it about little Israel. You can call for genocide and a Holocaust against the Jewish people like a Nazi. That's acceptable. And still have the candidate remain a member of your church and say, I won't disown him, and have the Bolshevik, Jew-hating news media say, ooh, you gave a very inspiring speech about race relations. An inspiring speech. An inspiring speech. This is someone who defended a Hitler who calls for the extermination of the Jewish people and who hates all white people and who preaches hatred against America and has cursed America and called for the destruction, in effect, of America. He says, God damn America. He, in effect, wants to destroy America. Israel, what a nerve. He says that little Israel is a dirty word. The nerve of this animal. Would this stinking so-called pastor have a church if not for all the Jews that fought in the civil rights movement for blacks? If not for the Jews, there would have been no civil rights movement, and the blacks would still be sitting in the back of the bus or under the bus or in the gas, in the exhaustion pipe of the bus, if not for the Jews. The Jews were the brains in the civil rights movement. The Jews financed the civil rights movement. The Jews were the public relations people behind the civil rights movement. The Jews were the ones that pushed this forward. And without Jewish brains, they would have gotten nowhere. Nowhere. And Jeremiah Wright and Barack Hussein Obama would not only not be on the verge, possibly, of, God forbid, taking over the country by becoming president of the United States, by taking over the White House. Not only would that not happen, they wouldn't even have the right to vote, if not for the Jews. Jews like Schwerner and Goodman were murdered fighting for the rights of blacks in the South, and look at what you get. Look at what you get when you help them. Look at what you get. And I'm talking about black racists here. I'm not talking about all blacks. I'm talking about black racists here and black Jew haters. Look at what you get when you help them, when you help these racists and anti-Semites in the black community. Nobody helped them more than the Jews. And look at how they bite the hand that feeds them. To this day, the NAACP and these other organizations get huge amount of funding from self-hating Jews that give them money. And by the way, who's raising money for Barack Hussein Obama's campaign? Do you know that his two main fundraisers are Jewish? Do you know that his campaign manager, David Axelrod, is Jewish? Do you know how many Jewish brains and Jewish public relations people are helping Barack Hussein Obama, someone who wants to destroy the Jewish people, wants to destroy Israel? And you have these sick, evil, vile, self-hating Jews, all the Jewish billionaires like George Soros, helping him and funding him and giving him money? And all the anti-Semites say the Jews in the media and the rich Jews want to help Israel. Help Israel. What a bunch of stupid fools you are. The rich Jews and those types of Jews like George Soros want to destroy Israel. They're ashamed to be Jewish. They're ashamed of their history. Jews that are loyal to Israel are not going to support Barack Hussein. No Jew that's loyal to Israel would support Barack Hussein Obama. None. Not one. The Jews in the media are all self-hating Jews. The Jews in Hollywood are all self-hating Jews. The rich Jews like George Soros are all traitors to the Jewish people. The Jewish organizations and the Jews that run the Israeli government that wants to surrender even Jerusalem, Israel's capital city, to the PLO, Hamas, Fatah, Muslim terrorists. These Jews are traitors to the Jewish people. I mean, is this a normal people? Someone says that the very name and word Israel is a dirty word, and he's the pastor for 20 years and continues to be the pastor and continues to be the church of Barack Hussein Obama, who by the way, also himself has a long history of anti-Israel remarks and anti-Semitic associations going way back. And Jews are helping finance his campaign, and a Jew, David Axelrod, is running his campaign, and Jewish public relations people are the ones doing his commercials and pushing him? I mean, is this normal? What's wrong with this picture? Does this sound normal to you? This is an insane people. After 2,000 years of living without their own homeland, many of them are self-hating, insane people. We represent the sane Jews, the self-respecting Jews, the Jews that are loyal to their people, loyal to their faith. And it's the Jews who are loyal to their people, loyal to their faith, that are also the Jews that righteous Gentiles should unite with, because those are the Jews that will do good things not only for Israel but for the world. And that is what JTF represents. When will JTF finally receive the support it needs, instead of people like George Soros and David Axelrod and the two big fundraisers? I don't even remember their names. These two super rich Jewish fundraisers that are leading the fundraising campaign for Obama. When are we going to have and the New York Nazi Times Jews and the Disney Jews and the Hollywood Jews? When are we going to have an end to all of this? When will we finally have a group like JTF with the Jewish money and Jewish resources to do good things for Israel and good things for the Jewish people and good things for America, the West, and the world? When will that happen? When that day comes, this will be a much better world. When that day comes, someone like Barack Hussein Obama would never have a chance of running for president, because we'd expose him once and for all, and we can still do it with your help. Join with us. Shalom.